What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Decided to switch it up with this video and give you guys a full video voiceover. I wanted to be a little more informational with this video and do an entire leg workout with dumbbells only. So a little bit off the normal routine, but I just wanted to switch it up and see really just how creative I could get with this leg workout. So this could apply, to just about any situation. If the gym's busy and you can't get to your typical machines, or if you're traveling and you only have like a hotel gym to work out in, where typically the equipment is pretty limited. So a couple of different applications for this workout here, and it can be fun switching it up. So let's get right into it. As you can see here, I am just foam rolling, getting warmed up. One of the first and foremost things that I always do, when I begin a leg workout, is to get the muscles warmed up. If the muscles are tight, your body's just not going to move the way you want it to. And if your body doesn't move the way you want it to, then you just increase the risk for injury. So just make sure to, do some foam rolling, do some myofascial release. That's kind of a mouthful. Just to stimulate blood flow and get things moving around. So this is the first thing I do. Actually, sorry, apologies. I start off with about 5 to 10 minutes of cardio, and then I go to foam rolling. So cardio gets the blood pumping, gets the heart rate up, gets the core temperature up. Foam rolling starts to actually stimulate more blood flow directly to the muscle tissue, getting it loosened up, ready for the work you're about to do. So I do everything, even though it is a lower body focused day. I do even work up into the back, the lats, because the lats actually insert in the lower back and can have a big impact on your quality of squat. So be sure to get those lats nice and warmed up, nice and loosened up. So everything from the calves all the way up to the middle of the back. So as you can see, when I was foam rolling my back there, when I get to the middle upper back, I reach forward, and what this does is it exposes the rhomboids, so it allows the rhomboids to just get targeted a little bit more. One thing I really try and focus on there is getting the muscles that are typically ignored. Next, after the myofascial release, get into some movement prep, so really start moving around a little bit more before the non-working sets, the warm-up sets. So here is just one of my favorite stretches of all time, was a walkout with a lunge and a rotation. So you walk out, go into a deep lunge, bring that foot next to the hand, and then reach across the body and then up towards the ceiling. Really kind of hits the hips, the T-spine, gets the body moving around in a few different planes of motion. Then I get into more of a sports focused warm-up. So I do this a lot for lacrosse warm-ups. Again, just getting everything moving around a little bit more, focusing on the quads, focusing on the hamstrings. Here, what you're seeing here is a lateral lunge with the rotation. So I'm sitting deep into that lunge and then reaching up, getting a good rotation through that T-spine, and then rotating up and over and switching sides. So slowly but surely getting moving around a little bit more, little by little, as I progress towards my actual workout. So here we are moving into some blood flow. These are tension squats with the dumbbell, and what I did is I limited myself to staying lighter than 50 pounds with the dumbbells. So I wanted to kind of make it realistic. If you're in a hotel gym, the weights typically don't go up very high. So I wanted to see what I could do with as little as 50 pounds. So with the tension squats, I'm not even using 50 pounds. I want to say I use 40, maybe 35. I can't remember exactly. And I apologize for the lack of focus. I'm not sure why it wasn't focusing here, but nonetheless, you can see the gist of the movement here. So tension squats, basically, I'm front loading myself, focusing on driving blood to the quads, and I'm staying in the lower, I would say 70% of the movement. So I'm not locking out all the way, making sure those quads stay under tension. So paired with that, wanted to get the hamstrings nice and warmed up. Here are a dumbbell. Here's a dumbbell RDL, 45 pounds, nice and smooth and controlled, staying down probably the lower 90% of the movement. I'm not locking out all the way, again, to keep tension in the hamstrings. So both of these movements here, just generating a lot of blood flow to the two of the three main muscle groups, the quads and the hamstrings, to get everything really moving around here. So I took more video here than I thought. So really just focusing on driving those hips back and getting a really good stretch. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground, just as long as you keep your hips tilted forward in that anterior pelvic tilt. What you're going to do is you're going to keep that tension in the hamstrings, make sure they get nice and warmed up. So here I moved on to my first, I guess, working set. So you'll notice a few of these exercises, since I am limited by weight, I do challenge myself tempo-wise. So I'm going about 2 to 3 seconds on the way down, a good solid second pause, and then 2 to 3 seconds on the way up. So I'm not just going up and down as I normally would, say I was loading up with a normal weight. I'm focusing on challenging myself time under tension wise, and getting the most out of it, because you can always make something harder simply by slowing it down. You know, I believe I'm holding 50 pounds here, and a normal goblet squat I could probably get away with 120, 130 pounds, but with 50 pounds, want to make sure I kept it nice and slow. So I supersetted the dumbbell goblet squat with a single leg RDL. So goblet squat's gonna more or less focus on the quads, especially with that pause there, and want to hit the opposite side, the posterior chain, with this single leg RDL. So notice how I'm keeping a fairly straight line between my knee and my shoulder. At the very end, you can see a straight line. You can basically draw it straight through my body. I'm not leaving my knee behind. I notice this a lot with people doing this exercise. They'll reach forward towards the ground more so with their upper body, kind of leaving their leg behind. The more you drive that foot up towards the ceiling, and it doesn't really matter if your knee's bent or if your leg is straight out, it's more so making sure you keep that straight line as much as you can between your knee and your head. So focus on that. The higher up you drive your, I guess, rear leg, the more you will feel it in that lower hamstring. So give that a shot. Next, I know this might look a little funny, but guys, if you're watching this, I swear this is what made me most sore. I'm recording this voiceover a couple days after I recorded this, and I still feel my glutes. You know, they're not super sore, but they're definitely still tight. And a couple days after doing a dumbbell workout, you know you did something right. So here, again, using 50 pounds, I'm focusing on pushing that dumbbell out towards my hips, because when you go up, it's easy to let it roll up towards your torso. Keep that dumbbell over that pivot point, making it as hard as possible. Drive all the way to the top, squeeze, push your knees outwards, away from each other, and really contract those glutes. Paired with that, I performed a lunge. So a lunge with the knee drive, really focusing on driving through that front leg, using that front leg, the glute, the hamstring, to push yourself through that movement. Slow deceleration, pause, you're not rushing through this. And this guy here, as you can see me looking at him, he saw my camera. You see him look at the camera for a second here, and he just had no regard for me. So I was not super thrilled with him. Look at him, he's looking at the camera right now. He's like, oh, I'm going on camera now, look at me. But was not super thrilled with him just kind of running in front of the camera, even though he definitely did see it. Anyways, now on to a relatively new movement to me. I have just now, probably within the past week or so, started performing these. These are sissy squats. So typically you'll have something in one side of your body. I'm using the sled here to kind of keep my balance. And I'm holding a very light weight in front of my body, right at my chest. So these might look a little weird. A lot of people might think they're terrible for your knees, but if you try these guys, you will feel every single muscle fiber in your quads. So I did, I believe, 5 or 6 with a weight, and then my form was starting to deteriorate, and so I dropped the weight and focused on my form. But one thing you really want to keep in mind here is really focus on keeping those hips extended. Squeeze the glutes right before you go down. Stay nice and straight. Push those shoulders back and those knees come forward up on your toes. Focus on the tension in your quads. So after that, I went on to what I call a hockey lunge. So it's just a lateral lunge, but being a hockey player, I kind of coined it a hockey lunge, just side to side. I really enjoy this movement for a glute focus, especially if you drive those hips back. If you load up with that dumbbell in front of you, you'll really be able to drive those hips back. Get down as low as you can. I see people go down like halfway. You really want to try and get those hips down below the knee, or as close as you can. If you can't, lighten up the weight, try and get a little bit lower, step straight to the side, drive those hips back, and really use those glutes to step up and out of that lunge. I believe this is one of the last movements here, second to last. So this is just a 2-point lunge. I really like this to mobilize the hips and get a lot of movement in the hips. So if you look at my left leg right now, I guess, or my right leg, one leg staying planted while you move forward and back. So depending on what leg is forward, you are going to focus on that leg. So right now, left leg's forward, driving back with that, and then you're pushing with the right leg to come forward from the back. Give this a shot. 2-point lunge, super easy to perform. You can stop in the middle if you find you have trouble keeping your balance, but really good nonetheless. So last movement here, went back to a bridge. I dropped down to 30 pounds because I did end up doing a single leg. Really wanted to focus on one glute at a time, drive one leg up in the air, squeeze, get as high as you can, really focus on getting those hips as far up towards the ceiling as you can. The closer your heel is to your butt, the more of your glutes you are going to use. The further out, the more hamstring you're going to use. So with that being said, that is going to do it, guys. I didn't record anything else, so this is it. Please comment below if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed this, gave you some good ideas as far as just using one medium of training, dumbbells here. Hope gave you some good ideas, some tips, something maybe you can incorporate into your next workout. As you can see, I'm struggling here. This is the very end. I'm not very happy, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment below with any questions you might have, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.